This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Lowe's knows how to freshen up your yard, and it all starts with mulch. That's why we're introducing Mulch Week during SpringFest with can't-miss savings. Right now, get 5 bags of Stay Green Premium Color 2 cubic foot mulch for only $10. Plus, members earn 5 times the points on select mulch purchases all week long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/9. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Previously on the Halloween podcast presents Double Vision. Mason Carter is stuck in Greyford, coasting through life with nothing but a couch, a flask, and a girlfriend who's running out of patience. One lazy afternoon, a bizarre infomercial plays on TV, something called the Demon Slayer Deluxe Kit. It's ridiculous until Mason takes a drink and sees something in the mirror. A second version of himself watching. Now he's seeing strange doubles around town, twisted versions of people that don't belong. And whatever they are, they've started to notice him too. Let's continue the story. Chapter 3. Sleep It Off. Natalie stood in the middle of the kitchen like she was holding back a storm. Mason didn't have to guess what she was thinking. Her face said everything. She didn't raise her voice, didn't throw anything, didn't curse. She didn't have to.
I'm done, Mason,
she said quietly.
I mean it this time.
He leaned against the wall, rubbing the back of his neck like it might help him find the right words.
Nat.
No, you don't get to smooth this over again. I came home to him sitting in our kitchen. You're drinking too much again. You're lying again. And for what? So you can rot in this house while the rest of us keep trying.
Dylan, still standing awkwardly in the corner, lifted his hands in mock surrender.
Hey, I didn't know there was gonna be a whole intervention.
You can stay out of this, you pest from the west,
Natalie snapped. Mason looked at Dylan, jaw clenched.
You don't have to go home, man. But you can't stay here.
Dylan blinked, then gave a small shrug.
Fair enough.
He turned and grabbed his flask off the counter, offering Natalie a salute.
Always a pleasure.
Get out,
she said. He walked to the door, paused, then looked back at Mason.
I'll call you.
Don't,
Mason muttered. The door clicked shut behind him, leaving the house wrapped in a thick, uneasy silence. Natalie stood at the table, arms still folded, eyes on Mason. He waited for her to speak, but when she didn't, he crossed the room and sank into the kitchen chair across from her, feeling the weight of the day in every bone.
I'm trying,
he said.
No, you're not.
Her voice softened, but it didn't lose its edge.
You keep saying that, but you're not. You drink, you lie, and then you act surprised when everything around you starts falling apart.
I had a rough day,
he said.
I talked to that guy, Todd, the one at the mill.
Natalie's brows lifted.
Yeah?
It went fine.
The lie tasted sour.
He said to stop by tomorrow. Sounded promising.
She watched him carefully, trying to read his expression.
Good. I'm glad.
Mason looked away, focusing on a small scratch in the table's surface. He didn't want to talk about the real encounter, about how he'd almost snapped, about the tightness in his chest or the way people were starting to split in two in front of his eyes.
I just need to sleep this off.
He mumbled.
Get my head straight.
Natalie's gaze softened for a moment. She let out a long breath and shook her head.
You're sleeping on the couch.
Yeah,
Mason said.
fair enough.
The house was quiet after she went to bed. Mason lay on the couch, one arm draped over his eyes to block out the streetlight filtering through the curtains. The cushions were worn thin, and the springs pressed up into his ribs, but he didn't complain. The weight of Natalie's disappointment sat heavier than anything else. He wasn't sure when he drifted off, but sometime deep into the night, he woke up with a jolt. The room was bathed in blue light. The TV was on. He didn't remember turning it on. Static buzzed for a second, then cleared, and there it was again. The same bizarre infomercial from earlier. Same velvet-suited pitchman. Same glittery cardboard backdrop. Same carnival grin stretched across his too wide face.
Are demons lurking in your reflection? Do shadows follow you home? Then don't wait another minute. Order your Demon Slayer Deluxe Kit now.
Mason sat up slowly, his mouth dry, his body heavy with sleep. The man on the screen was flanked by the rhinestone priestess again, holding up what looked like a glowing vial and a cross made of neon plastic.
We've got everything you need to fight the dark. Salted runes, holy hand wipes, and our patented portable exorcism spritz.
Mason stared at the screen, the sound warped and distant, like it was being broadcast from another room, or maybe another world. The pitchman's voice echoed inside his skull.
Call now and receive a bonus spiritual cleansing charm absolutely free. Just pay shipping and repentance.
Then the screen blinked, glitched, and cut back to static. Mason sat there in the flickering blue, heart pounding in his ears, sweat starting to form at his temples. He looked around the dark house. Empty. Quiet. But the TV had turned on by itself, and the infomercial, that stupid, over-the-top nonsense, felt more like a warning now. The static gave way to the infomercial once more. The man in the red velvet suit beamed at the screen, arms wide, voice booming.
Don't wait. Operators are standing by to take your call and deliver your Demon Slayer Deluxe Kit directly to your door. Banishing darkness has never been this easy.
Mason stared at the screen, mind half hazy with sleep and half burning with that low-grade panic that never fully left his chest. It was stupid. He knew it was stupid. A fake commercial selling junk to late-night drunks and conspiracy theorists. But the man in the suit wasn't laughing anymore. Not really. His smile didn't reach his eyes, and for reasons Mason couldn't explain, his hand was already reaching for his phone. He typed the number in off the screen, then held the phone to his ear. He expected it to ring and ring and ring. It didn't. It picked up on the first tone.
Thank you for calling Demon Slayer Deluxe,
said a woman's voice, smooth and warm, but with something brittle just underneath.
This is Lillian. Are you currently being watched?
Mason blinked.
What?
Is this a safe line to talk?
He sat up fully now, feet hitting the floor.
I just wanted to place an order.
Of course, but let's not pretend that's all this is, Mason.
The room felt colder. His fingers tightened around the phone.
How do you know my name?
You called us.
I didn't give you my name.
Caller ID.
she said almost playfully.
Go ahead with the shipping address.
Mason hesitated.
You know where I live too?
There was a pause. Then, calmly,
We can only help you if you let us, Mason. You saw it, didn't you? The other version, the not you.
his throat tightened.
Tell me, did it smile?
Mason stood up, his heart thudding. He turned the volume down on the TV but didn't mute it completely. The pitchman was still talking in the background, his voice now barely a whisper.
Yeah,
Mason said finally.
it did.
Good.
The operator replied.
That means it hasn't merged yet.
What the hell does that mean?
There was another pause, longer this time, and when she spoke again, her voice was slower, more careful.
It means you still have time.
He paced the living room in a tight, anxious loop, his bare feet sticking slightly to the cheap laminate floor.
So what do I do? You're seriously telling me this kit can help?
Parts of it.
She replied.
It's more than just objects. It's what you're willing to believe, willing to give up.
Mason looked down at the coffee table. A credit card sat next to Dylan's flask. Natalie's name was still printed on the top, though they shared the account. He grabbed it and gave the numbers. He quickly did a double take of the flask.
Dylan?
He thought. There was a long silence. The operator finally said,
It appears your payment has been declined.
What? No way, try it again.
I did.
He rubbed his forehead, the fog in his brain returning.
I know she doesn't get paid until Friday. That's probably it.
Or maybe
She said gently.
you're not ready.
Mason stopped pacing.
What the hell does that mean?
It means
She said, her voice now quiet and almost kind.
this kind of darkness doesn't go away with a quick fix. We can only deliver the kit once you're willing to confront what's waiting.
The line clicked, then silence. Mason looked down at his phone. The call had ended. No goodbye. No confirmation. The number wasn't even in his recent calls anymore. He turned back to the TV. The infomercial was gone, just static now, crackling in the dark. He dropped the phone and sank slowly back onto the couch. All he had wanted was something simple. A button to push, a potion to drink, a thing to hold that would make all of this go away. But even the fake solutions weren't available to him. He curled onto his side, eyes still wide, mind racing, waiting for the darkness to settle. Eventually, exhaustion pulled him under. But even in sleep, he didn't feel alone.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Chapter 4: Ghosts in the Static. When Mason opened his eyes, the morning light bleeding through the curtains made him squint. His mouth was dry, his back ached from the couch, and for a blissful moment, he felt normal. Like the night before had just been another one of his weird, drunken dreams. The kind you wake up from feeling uneasy but can't quite explain why. The infomercial, the call, that creepy woman's voice, that nonsense about merging. Had it even happened? He sat up slowly, wincing as the couch springs dug into his ribs and looked around the room. The TV was off, his phone was on the floor, battery almost dead. No missed calls, no proof. Just a foggy memory of voices, vague threats, and a credit card that had been declined for reasons that felt too personal. Maybe it had been a dream. Natalie was already in the kitchen, moving around in her usual efficient rhythm. pouring coffee, packing her lunch, stuffing a granola bar in her scrubs pocket. She didn't say anything when she saw Mason awake. Not yet. He stretched, forcing himself up, and rubbed the sleep from his face.
You going in early?
He asked.
Like always.
There was a beat of silence.
I'm heading to the mill today.
He added.
Gonna talk to them.
Natalie paused mid-sip of her coffee, then nodded. She didn't smile, but the tightness in her jaw eased just a little.
Good,
She said.
they're short-staffed. You show up ready, there's a chance.
He nodded.
I mean it, Mason. No detours, no disappearing halfway there.
I got it.
He said.
Straight to the groveling.
That earned him the faintest smirk, but it was gone as quick as it came. She slung her purse over her shoulder, walked to the door, and paused.
I want to believe you,
She said.
I do.
I'm gonna prove it.
He said quietly. Then she was gone. It wasn't until Mason had showered, gotten dressed, and laced up his work boots that reality caught up with him again. His truck was still dead. Had been for months. He stared out the window at where it sat at the curb like a rusted monument to his bad decisions. Battery long gone, tires underinflated, driver's side mirror hanging by electrical tape.
Right.
He muttered.
Guess we're walking.
He stepped outside, locking the door behind him, and started heading toward the street, but stopped short when he saw the hood of his truck was up. Someone was under it. At first, he thought it might have been some neighbor messing with it, but then he heard the familiar grumble of low-effort humming.
Dylan?
Dylan straightened up from under the hood, grease on his hands, a socket wrench tucked into his back pocket.
Surprise.
He said, wiping his hands on a rag.
She's almost alive.
What are you doing?
My good deed for the year.
Mason blinked.
Seriously?
Dylan leaned against the front of the truck, grinning.
Felt bad about yesterday. Talked to my folks. Told them you were trying to get back on your feet. They floated me a little cash for a battery and some parts. Figured I'd fix the beast up.
Wait, you told your parents?
Yeah, I sometimes pay rent, but you know they've always liked you. They want to help.
Mason didn't know what to say. Gratitude tangled with guilt and a weird stab of something like shame.
I didn't ask for this.
He muttered.
Yeah, well, you don't exactly ask for anything anymore.
Dylan shrugged.
Sometimes people still show up, even if they're screw-ups.
A few minutes later, the truck coughed to life. Engine sputtering, but running.
She's yours again, but I'm coming along, just to make sure she doesn't die halfway to the mill.
Mason hesitated, then nodded.
Fair enough.
They climbed in, the inside smelling like old fast food and dust.
Wait,
Dylan said, looking toward Mason's house.
let me grab my flask. I think I left it here yesterday.
Dylan ran into the house like a marathon runner, and within seconds, he was back in the truck, booze in hand.
Morning pick-me-up?
He said, raising the flask in a toast. Mason didn't even look at it.
Nah.
Dylan raised an eyebrow.
Really?
I want to show Nat I can do this. Sober.
Dylan blinked, then nodded.
Respect.
The drive was quiet for a while, both of them staring straight ahead, Greyford crawling past the windows like it always did. Same old signs, same tired buildings, same half-buried stories. But as they turned onto the main road toward the mill, Mason let out a long breath.
I called that number.
Dylan glanced over.
What number?
The one from the infomercial. The Demon Slayer Deluxe thing.
You're joking.
I thought I was dreaming.
Mason said.
But it answered. A woman picked up. She knew things. About me. About what I'm seeing.
Dylan's smirk faded.
I told you that double vision thing is normal when you take a swig from my special mix.
I don't think this is normal. I think I'm seeing something evil.
Okay, baby, I'll bite. What did she say?
That the doubles are real. That if they smile, they haven't merged yet.
Merged?
Dylan said, not fully believing Mason's hallucinations. Mason nodded slowly, watching the road.
She said I still had time.
Dylan was quiet for a moment. Then he let out a low whistle.
You really losing it, huh?
I don't know.
Mason rubbed his eyes.
It felt real. It feels real. I don't know if it's the booze or if I'm sick or if something's happening. But I saw one yesterday. Mr. Jenkins. He had a copy standing behind him. Same face, different posture, like it was wearing him wrong.
Dylan shifted in his seat.
That's messed up.
Mason nodded.
Yeah, no kidding.
They reached the edge of the mill's property line. Trucks and forklifts were already rumbling around the lot, and men in hard hats moved between loading bays and smokestacks. Mason turned off the ignition and stared at the building.
You really gonna do this?
Dylan asked.
I've got to try.
He opened the door and stepped out, boots hitting gravel with more resolve than he actually felt. Behind him, the truck engine ticked as it cooled, and Dylan sat watching, the flask still resting in his lap. The sharp clang of metal and the low rumble of machinery filled the air as Mason crossed the yard toward the mill office. The heat hit him quick. Sun beating down off the gravel, dust kicking up with every step. He wiped his palms on his jeans before opening the office door. The inside smelled like old coffee and sweat. Fluorescent lights buzzed above. A few guys were gathered around a corkboard near the back, pretending to read job postings they'd seen a dozen times before. Todd Bailey stood behind a cluttered desk, flipping through a clipboard, a pen tucked behind one ear. He looked up when Mason entered.
Well,
Todd said.
Look who's not too good for real work after all.
Mason took a breath.
Look, I'm not here to argue. I messed up yesterday. I had a bad day, and I took it out on the wrong person.
Todd squinted at him.
I need the job,
Mason said, standing straighter.
Whatever you've got. Day shift, night shift. I don't care. I need it. For real.
Todd set the clipboard down slowly, then folded his arms across his chest. He looked like he was enjoying this a little too much.
You really gonna show up this time? Not vanish after a week like last time?
Yes, you'll get everything I've got.
There was a beat. Todd nodded, then pulled a paper from the stack on his desk.
You start tomorrow. 6 a.m. sharp. I'll put you on floor support, maybe move you to machines if you don't screw it up.
Mason blinked.
Wait, seriously?
Todd shrugged.
We're shorthanded. I figure you'll either shape up or pass out in the loading dock. Either way, I win.
He slid the paper across the desk.
Sign that. Bring steel toes. Don't be late.
Mason didn't hesitate. He signed his name and thanked Todd without making eye contact, then turned and headed back out into the sun. The weight of failure had been pressing on him for so long, he didn't quite know what to do with the slight lightness in his chest now. It wasn't joy, not yet, but it was something. He jogged toward the truck where Dylan was still sitting, legs propped on the dash, windows down, chewing on sunflower seeds like it was his full-time job. Mason swung the door open and climbed in.
Well?
Dylan asked.
I start tomorrow.
Dylan grinned wide.
Hell yeah, my dude is officially a working man.
Don't make a big deal.
Nope, too late. We're celebrating.
Mason raised an eyebrow.
What, like tacos and job applications?
Like beer, jukeboxes, and the finest pool table this side of a leaky roof.
Mason shook his head.
Just one. I mean it.
Dylan slid into the driver's seat, turned the key, and grinned.
That's what they all say.
The bar was just a few blocks away. a squat cinder block building with faded signs and no windows. It didn't even have a name outside, just a neon open sign and a rusted metal door that creaked when you pulled it. As the truck rumbled into the lot, Mason felt that familiar twist in his gut again. He glanced at the rearview mirror, half expecting something to be there. But there was nothing. Just him. Just Dylan. Just a quick drink to celebrate. That was all. Thank you for listening to the Halloween Podcast Presents. If you're enjoying these tales of fright, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you have any questions, comments, or want to suggest a story idea, send us an email at thehalloweenpodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like to support the show, head on over to our website, thehalloweenpodcast.com, and pick up some podcast merch. You can also download the entire audiobook now, as well as all our other stories. Join us again next week as we continue our tales. Until next time, this is Lyle Perez saying, have a good night,